First, if you want your Python to be activated in Excel, then you need to use not just the free Excel on your system, but you need to be on an M365 plan. It could be personal, it could be business. So what you need to do is as simple as this. You come to any browser of your choice and search for M365 subscription. Then you go to Microsoft official site. Ignore the other ones that you see people trying to sell packages. Just be sure that you go to, yeah. So you're going to see the basic. The basic is about $6, but you can try it free for 1 month. So you can use the free trial to actually do all of these things. And if you notice, it says Microsoft 365 Copilot available as an add-on, and there's a condition there. So it may not be available for all markets. So you might not have it, but there's a way to go about it as well. Just stay with me. If you get it, if you have it as an add-on when you start, you will have Copilot, and automatically you're going to have Python in Excel as well with that. But if you don't have it, there's something we're going to do. And then you can switch to this for home. So personal subscription is slightly cheaper than the when you go to the monthly subscription for home is actually a bit cheaper. Yeah, so it's about 6.99 per month for one single person. You have all of these, so you can just use this. You can do the family plan and share with your friends or family. It's about 5 devices at once for 1 to 6 people, and you people can split the cost and share together. Or you can do the basic business, and then you can have it with a few people and work on it together. So I have already subscribed to mine, and I'm already working on mine. So you can also try this free for 1 month. You click on this link and you start your 1 month trial. So make sure that the Microsoft account, the email you use to open this Microsoft account, you note it down, and then you use the same email to open your Copilot account if it is not added, if it's not an add-in on your current Microsoft Copilot plan. Activate your account, and then it will ask you to download Office 365. You download Office 365, and then you would open it on your laptop or your desktop, and you would see your home page. It's going to look something like this. Let me open Office 365 after downloading it. Just a second, it's opening on my screen. So it's going to look like this. You're going to have the options for apps, content, create, Word, Excel. All of these are bundled with the personal plan that I subscribe to, right? So, and then when you click on create, you can do all of that. Okay, so let's move to Copilot. If you don't have Copilot before now, you can actually get access to it for free for the first for the first 30 days. Sorry, for the first 30 days, not 3 days. How do you go about that? Same way, you can just go to your browser and search M365 Copilot. Now, you would see a lot of things, but the first result is usually what you need to work with. And then you go into here, click Meet Copilot. You would see a lot of things about Copilots, and we are looking for. Now you can see some demos, some really cool demos that will show you what you can do with Copilot. And trust me, you can use Copilot with almost all your features. You can use Copilot in Word, you can use Copilot in Excel, and you can even use it in your Edge browser, even without a subscription. Here's mine just right at the corner here. And I've used it a lot. Like I've used up my 1 month free trial, so I had to purchase. You can come to this say Microsoft Copilot Pro. Let's go there and see what we have there. So this is the plan and pricing for it. You can start your free trial here. Once you have these two, you are home and dry and ready to work with Python and also Copilot in Excel. And so without wasting much of our time, I'll just go right into Excel and then recap what we did the last time and show us what we want to get into today. So I'm opening up my Excel, and there are features you would notice. Like I said, I've already showed us how to work with those. I've already showed us how to work with the things we need to do in order to activate. So now what you need to do is just come on in here and check if you have those features. So you under home, if you have successfully done your 365 subscription and your Copilot subscription, you should see the Copilot symbol here at the very end on your home tab. Once you click home, you should see Copilot here. And you can even see Copilot when you right click on a cell. When you right click on a cell, you would see Copilot, and you can see the numerous things you can ask it to do. Another way to also know that your 365 is working is when you go to formulas, you should see insert Python, and then you should see the editor. Now, you know why I love this editor? So let's close this. Why I love this editor is because you can actually do it like Jupyter Notebook. For those for those of us um, who have used Jupyter Notebook for data science, data analytics, you know that you just add a coding cell and then you begin to work. So this is similar to that. You add a cell and then you begin to, and once you add a cell, what you do is working in here. So you can add a cell, write Python code and say maybe for example, print. The first thing we always do as programmers or data scientists, print hello world. Yeah, and say control enter. So you can see just like you have in your Jupyter notebook, the result is here. So that's the beautiful thing about the editor, and it's possible to make use of it across the sheets at any point in time, right? So that's the Python editor, and also you can go directly into each cell and write your Python code. You don't necessarily have to use the editor. All you just need to do is type equal to py, and you'll see this option, create Python formulas, double click on it. And here you are, you can actually write your Python code here. So you can just say x equals to 3, and then shift enter, y equals to 4. You know, you can do simple addition with Python. So just say x plus y And all you do is Control Enter, and the Python code as executed, you can see the results 7. So that's one of the things we looked at, talking about using Python in each cell. And then another thing I shared in the last time is there are actually templates that you can work with. So once you go to Home under Files, you can go to More Templates, and under Templates, search Python. And then you can see this tutorial called Get Started with Python in Excel. You can actually work with this tutorial. If you are someone who doesn't know anything about Python, you can work with this tutorial, and then it can help you do a lot. Actually, you would learn how to use functions, how to use variables, how to write Python syntax in Excel and all of that. So it's basic and very, very easy to follow. Another one is the random data generator. This one has Python at the back end already, and it can help you generate Python code. It can help you generate Python code that generates data for you. So you don't need to do anything. All you just need to do is drag and drop, click on boxes. It's going to add data to your sheets, and then you can make use of that data with Python in Excel. And the last template that has been provided by Microsoft is the QR code generator. Say, for example, I wanted to generate a code for this meeting. All I need to do is paste the link and click generate, and then it's going to generate a QR code for me. Most times, when we want to do events or when we want to share a link with people, we use QR code. So instead of us to use all these third-party places where we are not sure our link is going to get to, you can just do this in your own Excel. Paste the link, design how you want the QR code to look, and then share. So once you do that in your Excel, regardless of even if you have 365 or not, you should see these templates in your Excel. So yeah, those are the three templates we looked at in the last time. And then back to home, I also taught us how to use Power Query to import data from one sheet to another. I shared the data set that we'll be working with in our workshop, because I'm going to be giving us a template to work with, and I want us to do machine learning on it. And the first 2-3 people who actually get to do it will get a gift from me. And then you get to showcase that on your portfolio. Okay, so I showed us how to use Power Query the last time. So, but for the benefit of those who might not have been there, one beautiful thing about Excel is that you can work with data from several sources and make use of it within Excel. You can connect without having to copy and paste that data into your current sheet. And it's done in such a way that it is actually a pipeline. What do I mean by it is a pipeline? The data in that other file is connected to your Excel. So what that means is every point in time when there's a change in the original document, it is going to be affected in your Excel that you connected to that document. So you didn't copy and paste that data. Rather, you created a link between your Excel, and that data. So that's the work of Power Query. I'm going to turn on autosave because I don't have it currently. So you need to turn on autosave in order to use Copilot. If you try to use Copilot without autosave, it's not going to work. So that's one thing you also need to do. Yeah, so let me demonstrate what Power Query does. So if you look at this point, when you click on the data tab, you're going to see get data from text, CSV, from the web, from table, from picture, recent sources. It's going to show you existing connection. Like there are a lot of places you can get data from. You can get it from Azure, from your Power Platform apps, from online services. So you can SharePoint, 365, Salesforce. You can even get it from a database, that's your ODBC and then OLEDB. Yeah. So you can get from a database, look at the different databases that you can connect to. So as an analyst, it's very, very important to actually know Power Query because it can help you connect to various sources even without having to work directly on the database. That's why I believe this Python in Excel with Copilot is a very powerful tool because I can connect to any database, connect to any data source of my choice, and still work with it in Excel without having to do too much. Okay, so I'll just do from file, I'll say from text CSV, so I just want to show us. Okay, let's go to downloads and go into this archive. So this is the IMDb data set and just say import. This is about 50,000 rows of data. Yeah, so and then I'm going to say transform data. You know, in the data process, we have extract, transform, and load. So extract is where you actually get the data, which we've done. Transform is when you work on the data, you remove things that you want to remove, add things you want to add, clean the data. And then load is when you bring the data set into where you want to work with. So you might have been saying ETL. Some of us already know what ETL is, but for the benefit of those of us that might not know yet, it means extract, transform, and load. So I'll just go to transform data, and then I'm going to get an interface, which is my Power Query editor. This is it. And you can do a lot of things with Power Query editor, but I'm not going to go in depth. I did that in the last session. So this is it. You have all of the information here. And it's going to say this column profiling is based on the first 1,000 rows. So I have review here as row 1, sentiment as row 2, but I want them to actually be the headers and not the rows. So I'll just come to this place and say use first rows as headers. And simple. The column 1, column 2 that I had before has cleared out. And then I mentioned that you can clear your applied steps. Probably you made a mistake and you want to go back to what you've done. You can just come back here, cancel your previous steps, and you'll be back to your original data. So use first rows as headers. And then you can see review and sentiment are now my headers. And I can actually remove rows. I can remove number of rows. For example, if I don't want a certain number of rows, I can just come here and say to ask me how many rows I want to remove. So I can say I want to remove 49,000 rows, and bam, that has been done. And I can go ahead and even remove more rows. You don't have to do this. I'm just showing you that you can remove rows. I want to keep the data set to just 500 values. So that, yeah, because I know this data set has 50,000 50,000 rows, and that's huge, a lot of compute power. So I just want to work with 500. So once I'm done with this, I will just say close and load. You can decide to close and load to a different location, but once you do close and load, it's going to load it back to the file you were working with. And once you do that, you can see, got it? You can see this is the data set present within the sheet I was working on earlier. So I can work with it here, do a lot of things with it. In order to actually do a good analysis on this. It has already written the sentiment for me. So I'm going to delete this column. I'm going to delete this column because we're actually going to get the sentiments by ourselves. Yeah, so I've deleted this column. You can see these are movie reviews, actually good reviews, live reviews for a movie. You can see what this person is particularly saying. Blah 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 blah. Just one other episode and whatever. Okay, so yeah, let's actually see what we can do with this now. So we already know that we can use Python, we can use Excel. So, but I'm not going to try to even do any analysis myself today. So I want to show us brand perception. So when we say brand perception, remember that the goal of all of this series is for us to get to a point where we can do a brand perception for any brand that we're looking at. So when you talk about brand perception, you want to know how people see your brand as an organization, how people see your product, how people see your services. And one way is to look at that is through reviews. So this is why we're even using movie reviews. I don't want to use any brand. You would have the opportunity to do that yourself if it's your personal brand, just for privacy issues. So this is a public data set that everybody can make use of. And so how do you work with this? Reviews would contain all sorts of things. Imagine if I had to work, right now we are working with just 1% of this data set, which is 500 rows. This data set actually contains 50,000 data points. Imagine as a business owner, you wanted to know what people thought about you. Would you go through these 50,000 reviews one by one? You can't do that. What you need to do is actually use natural language processing, machine learning, to find out what people think about your brand. What do they perceive your brand to be? And one way we do that is sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis is a natural language processing method. What natural language means, the ability for computer to read and understand the language that we speak as humans. So natural language processing technique, sentiment analysis, what it does is it goes into a text and then tries to tell us what that text is. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? And that way you can now work to understand what people are saying about your brand. So this is like a major step for the final project we want to build, because once you can get this, all that is left is to add Power Automate. And what are we adding Power Automate to come and do? Power Automate is going to help you scrape data without you being there. Because I mean, imagine if you have a page and the reviews are just coming in, you can't go and keep downloading every day. So Power Automate is going to do that. Go to that page at every point in time at a specific interval that you have set and begin to download that into your probably your sheet or your database, and you keep having new data points. And then you can also ask Excel, use Copilot with Power Automate as well, to keep running that analysis periodically. So each month you can see the difference. How much more positive sentiments do we have? How much more negative sentiments do we have? We're not going to go into Power Automate today. We're just going to stick with Copilot in Excel. So now you need to be actually a data scientist to make use of these models or make use of other open services like Azure OpenAI and Azure ML to actually make use of models that can do this. But now you can do that within Excel without having to know the details of how it works. So now this is what we're going to do. Click on this column, and then, like I showed you, you right click. You can see, so our Copilot is open, and I'm going to say get deeper analysis results using Python. So Copilot has replied. It's like a chat. It's going to ask you for your consent to actually work on that data. So it's going to tell you that it can create a new sheet, it can automatically write and insert Python formula and answer your prompts in multiple messages, just like the way you work with other generative AI models that are open source or open to the public, and even the private ones. So you say start the advanced analysis, and then it's going to load an analysis sheet for you, and then tell you what it has done so far. So it's going to show you the code, the Python code. It is also loading. Let's see. So this is the code. You see, if you notice, I didn't even tell it to actually do sentiment analysis. It actually went in there and did it on its own. So let's go. Let's look at it. It's going to show you the code it actually ran. So this is the code. Can you see the Python code that was run? So this was the first code. It imported the data set. And then next, what it did was it told us what it did. To perform deeper analysis, sentiment analysis can be done, word frequency analysis, identify the most common word, length analysis, rating analysis. So these are different kind of analysis that can be done on this data set. You not even mentioned only sentiment analysis. It identified 3 other kinds of analysis that can be done on this data set immediately in order for us to get good results and show insights. Okay, so when it now told us what it inserted into A24. You can see this is our A24. What did it insert there? It performed sentiment analysis, imported NLTK. If you are familiar with data science and coding, you know that the NLTK library is what you use for natural language processing, and it helps you with different libraries and functions that you can use to get sentiment scores, emotion distribution, and all of that. So it has run all of that code for us. So if you are someone who does not like coding, who does not even want to see how coding is done, you don't even have any business looking at it, all you just need to do is come to this point and say, add results to sheets. You can see that one has been added. And then for the sentiment analysis, also come and click add results to sheet. So now we have, this is a preview of the data set actually. Now, this is full details of all that was a preview, but here you can see the full details in the detail sheet. So it gave sentiments to each of those data points in such a short time. I mean, if you were going to code this, for those of us who know how to code it already, you know this is going to take a while to do. It's not going to be this fast. And it has done all of this for us from A to Z. We now have all of the positive analysis. So I can just say, can you show me this graphically? So say you want to show executives what happened, what is, like, you don't want to even show them the main data set. I mean, you can't be showing them 500 or 50,000 rows. What do you need to show them? You need to show them, what are my positive reviews? What are my negative reviews? So it has automatically done a plot for us. And you can see from this plot, we know how many positive reviews we have. We also know how many negative reviews that we have, right? And I'll just click add results to sheet. So it's, yeah, so this is it. So you have it like a dashboard, pretty clean and clear, and you can see everything. The number of, and for this, we can tell that maybe this particular movie has more positive reviews than negative, right? It's about 350 positive and about 180 or so negative reviews. So that's a good one for that movie, I guess, depending on what metrics you define. So for your brand, you can say we want to have 70% positive reviews. If you notice that 70% is not what you have, then you want to know what exactly went wrong with your data, or what exactly went wrong with your product that is giving you this data. Another thing we can do is, okay, say, let me go to the original data set and say, let's see if we can generate a word cloud. So this is one thing we do when we are looking at word frequency analysis. So you want to see how much certain words were used, how frequently they are used. Although this data set is a bit much, and because it is reviews, it is quite lengthy. I want to see if we'll be able to get the word cloud. It might be too much, but let's see. Oh, okay. Python is already being run by Copilot. So trust me, it's going to be beautiful. I was even doubting it was going to be able to do this, but yet it did. So now, yeah, I want us to actually look at this in detail. And the good thing is you can copy this image. Let's say copy, Control C. Let's say this is the page I want to use for all my chats. I can come here and paste it here. So you can even make a report, a word report, and show all of this within it to your executives. Say, this is it. So now, when we all, as analysts, sometimes they always say that we should clean data, right? If you look at this, you will see that the word BR is actually showing up as a data point. And BR is just like, it's part of HTML just to show space. When space is included in a word with HTML, the text behind in the background, the language, the markup language understands it as BR. So that's why I've seen a lot of BR, because when it scraped the data set from IMDb, it scraped it as HTML. So you're going to see a lot of BR. So one way you can do this is to clean your data set, right? You can clean your data set and make use of and see how you can remove that BR. So one way to do that is to go to let's see if we can edit query. So you can edit this query. You can go back to your Power Query editor and then see how you can either split or say replace value. So let's say we want to replace values. Let's say value to find. If you notice in number row 2, you can see BR. So we can say we want to rerun that. I want to remove every instance of this BR so that I don't have it in my data set any longer, because it's going to mess up my analysis, and say replace with space. Okay. So that's part of the data cleaning you can do with Power Query. If you notice in row 2, the BR you're looking at before has cleared out. So that would do it. Even if you have 50,000 rows, it's as easy as that. Just hit that and then everything is done. Then you go back and say close and load. Can you see the data set has changed? This row, this column has been added back. I forgot to drop it in the query. You can actually do that in the query instead of coming back here. So that way it won't keep importing it. So I'll go back to edit, and drop this column from here. So once I drop this column here, it's not ever going to appear again. I don't have to do that manually. Say remove this column. So that column is gone. Close and load. So, but what does this mean? This doesn't mean this column is deleted in the original data set. No, it only means that this is the only column that will be exported in order to work with your data. So let's go to your analysis. Did you notice? Look at this image. You notice that the BR has been taken out. Automatically, we didn't have to come and say we need to rerun the analysis because Power Query is connected. Once that thing is not part of the data set any longer, it is no longer part of it. You don't have to come and rerun it. So it is connected. If you notice, this was what we had before. You can see the BR. But because BR is no longer in that data set, we now have good data points. So you can use Power Query for data cleaning. And then the analysis that Python does, Copilot does with Python for you is live. So as the data set changes, the results will also change. So that means whenever you import new data sets or add new data sets to your to what you have as your on your database, new results will keep being added. So you don't even need to do anything. All that you need to do in order to make this a live analytic dashboard is just to import new data sets to your database regularly. And that's all. The analysis is already fixed. So at this point, I'm going to take a pause. Do you have any questions or comments in the chat? Let me know. What do you think so far about all of the things that we've talked about? What do you think? So I want to have that short conversation with us. I need your feedback in the chat so that we can discuss. If you need me to unmute you, you unmute your mic. I'll also do that so that we can discuss. Yeah, I see someone is typing. Oh, you're getting, okay. It's unable. Oh, are you sure? Do you have Copilot Pro? Do you have Copilot Pro? If not, we can get together some other time and then try to debug. Okay, it's just 365. So you need Copilot Pro actually to do this. So that's, you might need to go and do a free trial of the Copilot Pro. So just try that. Yeah. So and then we can discuss more about this. Connect with me on LinkedIn or any place, and then we can discuss this more. So yeah, thank you for that feedback. Yeah, so do we have any other? I need one more feedback, and then we can continue to look at what we are doing. Yeah, one more feedback or question. Please, I need that just to verify that we are actually following. You can just give me a thumbs up. Okay, I see there's a question and there's a question. Let me see. Question. Thank you. Okay, I see thumbs up. Shows that. How does the functionalities of Power Query, Python in Excel, and Copilot in Excel differ? That's a very good question. So Power Query is a data transformation tool present within Excel. And even if you use Power BI, you have access to Power Query. So Power Query is mostly for extracting, transforming, and loading data. So you can bring in data from various sources into your Excel in order to be able to work with it. For example, I might be an analyst and then they don't want me to have access to the database because of privacy concerns. I can use Power Query to import maybe just 2 columns. Maybe the data set has 50,000 columns and 10 million rows and I only need to work with 2 columns, and you don't want me to see the rest of the data, I can actually make use of Power Query to connect to that data set and import those 2 columns into my Excel. And it's a live connection. As the database changes, the changes are affected in my Excel. So I have a copy of that database right in my Excel, right? Then Python in Excel is what Python in Excel, the ability you have is to be able to write Python code inside of Excel. Previously, you need to learn Python separately and then Excel separately. And then you now use maybe VS Code or Jupyter Notebook to import your Excel file. Then you now begin to write Python code on it. But now you don't need to go to a different place to write your Python code. You can write your Python code within the same Excel document that you are working on, right? And then once you do that, it gives you access to do analysis and everything within the Excel and see your results in real time. Then Copilot now takes it a step further. Ordinarily, all of this Python code, I would have had to have written it from scratch by myself. But as you can see, I have not written a single line of code today. But we have been able to do machine learning. We have been able to do sentiment analysis. We've been able to do deeper analysis without even writing a code. So if I didn't have Copilot, all of these things I'm showing you now, I would have had to code it from scratch. And trust me, we might not have been at this point yet, because we would have had to write the code. Maybe there's a bug in the code, and then because of that bug in the code, I have to debug, look for errors. But with this, you can see that everything is clear and everything works. Okay, so if there are no other questions or comments, then we can proceed a bit more. If you recall, it said we could do rating analysis. Okay, so now let's do this length analysis. I'll go back to there. Make sure that you are on the particular data set column before you do anything. So I'll ask, can you help with length analysis? If you notice, I even made a mistake. I did a typo here. Analysis, not analysis. But it understands and it has corrected my mistake and is already trying to calculate the length of the reviews. So now you can see I have this. The length of each review has been calculated and added as a new column, review length in the data frame. Next, the distribution of each review length will be analyzed and visualized. Isn't this wonderful? Now you can see the number of words that each review had, and you can see the distribution, the frequency. For those of us who are into statistics, you can see the kind of distribution it is. You can see it is skewed to this, to the left, or skewed to the right. I'm not going to go into all of that right now. But look at it. You can see that the reviews, a few of them peaked, and then others are just short reviews. So you can see the histogram above shows the review length in terms of number of words. This helps understand variation in review. This is amazing. So now I'm going to come here. You remember I said I want to use this sheet as my dashboard that I want to share with probably executives. So I'll just come here and paste that image as well. Increase the size. So the good thing is now I can just take this, put it in a PowerPoint and share with executives and say, based on our current movie or product or service, this is what people think. This is how much people talk about us. These are the words that we find the most people. These are the things associated with our movies, and this is the number of reviews, and these are the sentiments that people have towards our product and towards our movie. Quite detailed, right? And then finally, I can ask Copilot, can you help with a detailed summary for executives that I can share of all the analysis that we have done. And you can notice this is it. Everything, it told us all the analysis that we've done. And then now I'll say, and if you notice, there are still other suggestions at the bottom of things we can do. So I can even just go ahead and say, do this. I just click on it, perform word frequency analysis. Let's see what that is going to give us before I go to the next thing I want to try. So perform word frequency analysis to identify the most common words in reviews. It's working. So what this does is the same thing as a word cloud, right? But it's just going to show us in a table. Yeah, it's going to show us in a table, and we'll be able to see. Let me see, add results to new sheet. So we can see what. She's going to show us the number with each word. So these are the most popular words, and then you can see the number of times they appeared in it. So word cloud is like the visual representation of what you have here. The word cloud we generated earlier. Right. Okay, so you can see it's even giving you suggest more ideas. What else can I do? I mean, so if the review had timestamps, would have been able to do a time series analysis to see how the reviews were changing over time, but we don't have a timestamp in the data set. But I can check to see, analyze the correlation between review length and sentiment. So is there's a way to check, does the length of the review determine whether that review is going to be negative or positive? Do you have more negative results when people talk a lot about it, or do you have lesser positive when people write a longer comment? So length of the analysis, basically, the analysis is length of the review versus the yeah. So if you notice, there's not much difference in average review length by sentiment. It's almost the same thing. The difference is not so significant. Although you have, it's more leaning towards the positive, but the difference, if it was like 80-20, 70-20, 70-30, and all of that, but this, looking at this, they are almost at par, probably 230-240. So it's almost the same. It's almost the same thing at the end of the day. And you can click suggest more ideas. Like, there's no limit to what you can do. You can just keep going and going and going and going and going. So yeah, there's also another thing that is important in natural language processing, which is topic modeling. So that you can cluster the reviews into different topics using topic modeling to understand what is like the main. So now we're able to get the main words that people use a lot. We can even decide to say what's essentially what are they talking about? What is that topic? So let's do that topic modeling so you can see. Cluster the review into different topics to understand the main themes. So let's understand what exactly are they talking about when they make reviews of this movie. So it's going to create different topics, a few topics, and see what people are talking about. And you can see LDA is a library that we use for that in data analytics. The full name is latent directed allocation. And you can see the Python code. This is what it did up here from sklearn, import count vectorizer. Okay, so the analysis could not be completed due to a missing resource. Please ensure that the okay, we're not able to do that one, but it was, I think, because we don't have enough in the data set to actually work on that. But you can do word sentiment correlation. Let's try word sentiment correlation. So if you use probably a real life data set with your work and with other features available, other columns, you might be actually able to perform that topic analysis. So once we're done with this, I will show us other things we can use Copilot to do, and then we'll wrap it up for today's session. I intended to just keep it short because it's just a hands-on session that is supposed to enable us understand what we need to do to run our code. So, and I don't want to keep us for so long. So it's going to do what? Yeah. Okay. Yep. And I think you can see it's showing us the most common words. Yes. I would say that if you have a very large data set, say 50,000 rows and above, it might take a bit of a longer time. It will not be as fast as we have it right now. So that's some of the limitation. And then sometimes there are some things that you will try to do. It might not be able to do that exactly. For example, you ask it to create a dashboard sheet for you. It might not be able to do that. So you would need to get the various results that you have and then paste them on the sheets yourself. The way I've been doing on these sheets, for example, because it's going to keep creating everything within this analysis sheet. So if you want to have it on a separate sheet, you might have to. So some little things you might have to actually do by yourself. So that's why it's a co-pilot, right? It's not going to take our jobs from us. It is here to help us do our work, make it easier for us to do our work, make our work more efficient. So it's not taking us totally out of the mix, but just simplifying our work and then adding beauty to it. So yes, there are some limitations to Python in Excel. That's an excellent question, sir. Um, yeah, so you can see it told us what the most common words for positive sentiments are. You have movie, film, one, like, and would. And you can even see the same number of words, the type of words too that were associated. So this does not even give us too much detail. I think the two words that are different should be even and probably Even, yeah, even is like the difference between the two of them. Yeah, so that does not really tell us much, but if you use it for your brand, you might see certain words. For example, let's say you are a retail brand and then you see that a particular product name is always associated with negative reviews. Then you need to go ahead and look at that product. What is it people are complaining about? What is it people need you to work on in order to make it better, right? So that's what you need to look at. And with this, I would say we've done a lot. We've done a lot in terms of text processing today. And I want us to look at something else entirely. So I'll say stop advanced analysis. Yeah, and I'll say change topic. Good. So now I want to show us other things we can do with Excel. For example, you can actually make use of this Copilot to generate dummy data for whatever it is you want to do. So for example, I'll ask, can you generate, you'll see how the data for topic modeling is supposed to actually look like. Dummy data for topic modeling. Oh, having trouble? That's interesting. Can you generate dummy? I think I might have hit my monthly quota, but let's see. Can you generate dummy data? Let's see if it's gonna do that. Okay, so yeah, that's working now. Let's try again with topic modeling or sentiment analysis and see what's gonna happen. So this is the dummy data. I can insert this data into my sheets and work with it. So this like I can do a customer analysis on this one, but that's not what I'm looking for. I am looking for blank. Let's see. Can you show me what? Aha. So you can see it's working now. So there probably there's a problem, maybe with my network or something the first time when it didn't generate it. So this is how it looks. I can ask it to, can you add 50 more rows? Okay. It's unable to add it right now. So, but this is how the data will look. You would have a document ID and then you have the text. So if you notice in the data set we worked with, we only had the review and there was no ID for it to pin it to. So that way we're not able to get what we were looking for. And so this is how the data set is actually going to look. And then another thing is, let's say one common thing that I noticed that people. All right, Orlando, thank you for joining us. Another thing that we do most times with Excel. So I'll just quickly go over that and then we call it a wrap for today's session. Another thing that we do most times is what if analysis. So for example, I'm working with certain conditions and I say, what happens when I change it from this to that? What is going to happen? What is going to change? The quick one is going to be, okay, I want to do a what if analysis on sales. Can you help me with that? So it's telling me the steps. So for example, maybe I don't know how to use all of that before. I don't know how to do what if analysis, and then my manager asks me to do a what if analysis. Copilot is going to actually give me detailed steps on how to go about doing that what if analysis without having to go and learn. I would say so I would say I need more details on scenario manager. Please give me data to use for this as well. So we're going to have that's giving us example data that we can use. You can copy this data to use for your scenario manager, and then it's going to tell us ensure your data is organized in a table format as shown above. Click the data tab, click on what if analysis, select scenario manager, click on add to create a new scenario, name your scenario, select the cells you want to work with, add more scenarios, show your scenarios using the scenario manager to switch between scenarios to show how the changes affect the total sale. So I can just go ahead and say insert to new sheet. So we will work on that and see how it looks. So this is the dummy data that was created for us. And so we can follow the steps that was listed by Copilot in order to work with it. So it says go to the data tab. You can see the data tab is right up here. Click on the data tab and go click on what if analysis. So this is your what if analysis. Click on scenario manager. Click add to create a new scenario. You can name your scenario, call it high discount. I'll just go ahead and do that. High discount. And click OK. So it says click on the cells that are going to change. So I'm going to say the sales that are changing. Let me see. Let's say if the price changes, let's say the price is going to change. And say OK. So what is it changing by? So let's assume that as an organization, we decided to do a 10% discount. So everything for all our products, we decide to do a 10% discount. So everyone now becomes 0.1. So everybody is now 0.1 instead of the small discounts we have. So yeah, high discounts and say, okay. Yeah, once we do that, we click show. The discount rate shows you the total sales. And once you close it, that's all. Okay, so I believe we've been able to go through quite a number of things. And then, I mean, the world is your oyster. You can go ahead and do as much as possible with Copilot. Remember, I've already showed us how we can work with it, what you can do, the things you can, the various things you can do with it, how you can also activate Copilot, how you can activate Python as well in Excel. So if you were not here when we did all of that, you can just catch us on the recording and see what it is that we have done. So one thing I want us to look at is you can see the various prompts. You can actually format tables. Funnily, all of those things are things you can do. You can even give voice prompts to Excel. So I can say, create a good formula for me and all of that. And then it's going to listen and do all of that. Though I've disabled my microphone for it right now. So if, for example, you can't type and you just want to talk to Copilot, you can actually do a voice command and then it's going to do all of this for you. Okay, so with this, we've been able to look at Copilot, sorry, with the power of Python in Excel. And then the final session that we're going to use to tie this all up is going to be how we can add Power Automate to the mix to automatically scrape data from the web for us into our data set that fits into this analysis. And that way we have the brand perception app. So thank you all.